This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, sir. You can continue, sir. You can go ahead.
Shall I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, just I'm waiting for the PowerPoint presentation on screen. So good evening, dear participants. So today this is our third class in microbiology. So we have started with the topic microscopy. Let me recap what we have done in the last two classes. So in the first class, microscopy part 1, we went through the basics of microscopy, about the terminologies. Hope those who have attended those classes remember all those things. We have discussed about transmission, various properties of light such as transmission, reflection, diffraction, absorption, fluorescence, then refraction, what is refractive index, then regarding the shape of lenses. Then we have also discussed about different types of lenses, that is ocular lens, achromatic lens, apochromatic lens, flat field lens. Then about the structure of a microscope, how it looks like, what are all the different parts of a microscope, and what are the functions of each part. Then about some of the basic terminologies, we were continuing with magnification, resolution, wavelength, numerical aperture, all those things. Then finally, in the first class, we have gone through the properties of an oil immersion lens and also about contrast. What do you mean by contrast? This was the recap of first class. And in the second class, we have started with the types of microscope. That is, we started with bright field microscope, then about dark field microscope, fluorescent microscope, phase contrast microscope, then Nomansky differential interference contrast microscope, then confocal scanning microscope. So this was the topic we were dealing in the second class. So in the first class, we were going through the basic terminologies of microscopy, whereas in the second class, we were going through the different types of light microscope, that is bright field, dark field, phase contrast, then fluorescent, then all those things. So today is the third class, and in the third class, we are going to deal with electron microscope. So can I get the presentation on screen? Hello, can I get the presentation on screen? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Which slide, sir?
Yeah, first slide actually. The third presentation, first slide.
Okay, go to the first slide, Amit. This one, sir.
No. Still the presentation is not on the screen. Still only I can see a screen like microscopy lecture 3 by Vinay, organized by Biosetup License. Till now, okay, now it is loaded. Fine, thank you. This is the same. So today we are going to deal with electron microscope and types of electron microscope. So before we are moving into this topic, let me explain you what are the basic difference between a light microscope and an electron microscope. We have already discussed in the last class. So in the light microscope, the source of illumination is light, whereas in the electron microscope, the source of illumination is a beam of electron, which means in order to magnify an object in light microscope, we are using a light source, a light beam, whereas in electron microscope, we are using a beam of electrons. So that is the basic difference between a light microscope and an electron microscope. Then what about the magnification of light microscope? I hope you all remember. Magnification was the product between the ocular lens magnification and the objective lens magnification. So the total magnification which was possible using a light microscope was around 1000x, that is 1000 times the size of image of the object. When we were using oil immersion lens, it was around 1400 times. So maximum magnification using a light microscope is 1000x, that is 1000 times, whereas if we are using the oil immersion with 100x objective lens, it will be around 1400 times. Whereas in electron microscope, the maximum magnification possible is more than 10 lakhs. Okay, that is the basic difference. In light microscope, light is the illuminating source, whereas in electron microscope, beam of electrons are the illuminating source. Again, the magnification power of a light microscope is around 1000 times or 1000x, whereas in electron microscope, it is around 10 lakh x. Fine, so that is the basic difference. Then, light microscope was basically used to observe bacterial cells, fungal cells, algal cells, all those things. Whereas in electron microscope, we are observing objects which are smaller than the bacterial cells, or we are observing the organelles of bacterial cell. Cytoplasm, mitochondria, nucleus, all those things. Also, we are using electron microscope in order to observe viruses. So viruses are living particles or living entity which are smaller than bacterial cell size. So in order to observe a virus, we have to use electron microscope. So electron microscopes are applicable in virology labs as well. So now in the midst of this COVID, in order to observe the coronavirus, we have to use electron microscope. Fine. With that short description, let us move on to our topic. First slide, please. Can you move the first slide? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, first slide. This is the, next slide, please. This is the basic. Next slide. Now the slide I can see on the screen is just microscopy prepared by my name and my qualification. I want the next slide. That is the description about electron microscope.
Okay, I request everyone to wait for just 2 minutes. There is some connection issue. So I request our organizer, Mr. Amit, to please make me presenter.
Shivam, I think you are share the slide because Amit cannot properly share the slide. Here I have connective issue.
Okay. Just make me presenter.
Yeah, thank you. So what is so in the electron microscope, the first point is the same thing which I have discussed now. What is that? A beam of electrons instead of light. So in light microscope, we are using light source in order to illuminate the object, so that we will get a magnified image of the object. Whereas in electron microscope, we are using a beam of electrons. So as a result of beam of electrons instead of light, in electron microscope, we are getting a greater resolution. That is, wavelength is much shorter than light. So in the first presentation, in the first class, we have already seen this thing. As the wavelength decreases, resolution and magnification will increase. So here, yeah, again the presentation is gone. Just make sure you place the same slide on the screen. I will continue the discussion. Fine. So in light microscope, we are using light source, whereas in electron microscope, a beam of electrons are used. So as a result, we are using beam of electrons in electron microscope. We are getting a greater resolution and higher magnification than light microscope. That's why with light microscope, we can observe bacterial cell, whereas using electron microscope, we can observe the internal cell structures and organelles. It is because of the highest resolution and highest magnification possible by means of an electron microscope instead of a light microscope. Clear? Now, the voltage we are using with electron microscope, or the current we are using, is around 60,000 volt. And so at 60,000 volt, a wavelength of approximately 0.005 nanometer is obtained using an electron microscope with a resolution of about 0.2 nanometer. Still the slide is not being shared. It will be difficult for the candidates to follow my class without the slide. So if possible, please make sure that issue is corrected. I will wait.
I shared slides. It was visible or not? Please confirm once.
No. It's about starting slideshow. That is what we can see on the screen.
I think there is some regional connection issue. So it may be visible to few people and it may be not visible for few people. So thing you can do is you can just wait for 2 or 3 minutes. So
Yeah,
we can
sure.
correct it.
Sure.
Just wait for 2 or 3
Sure,
minutes.
Yeah,
Please
sure.
confirm me. Please confirm me once it is visible or not. Okay, sir.
Yeah, definitely.
It was visible.
No, it is not visible. Now, again, we came to the previous screen. It is written like no screens or cameras are being shared.
Amit, can you please once again make me presenter after stopping me to share? Please once again make me.
Okay.
Once remove me and once again make me. Is it visible now?
No, still the screen is the same.
Shivam, it is visible.
But to
It's
sir,
not
it
visible.
was not. Yes, sir. There is some regional connection issue. It is visible to few people and it is visible
No,
to.
please see all the participants. If it is visible, then it is fine for me because I have the laptop in front of me. For me, for the participants, it must be visible. Otherwise, they can't follow what I am talking.
Okay. Uh, so let me share once again. If you visible, you just comment yes in the comment section. Argdeep, now you just confirm me. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Is it visible now, sir? Argdeep and Amit.
No,
Yeah, it is visible.
no. Can you make sure whether it is visible for all the participants? Then it's fine for me. But on my screen, it is not at all visible.
अच्छा एक बार पता करके बताओ बच्चों से कि स्क्रीन विजिबल है या नहीं एक बार कमेंट सेक्शन में देखो क्या बच्चे रिप्लाई कर रहे हैं
विजिबल है
ओके तो स्टूडेंट्स को विजिबल है तो सर आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं सर
Shivam, सब स्टूडेंट को
Okay. So
visible.
okay, good. So no problem. Now,
Okay.
now you have placed the first slide, right? The heading is electron microscope on the slide. Is it
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Sentence is like, and the first sentence is a beam of electron instead of light. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
First sentence. Okay. So let me continue. Yeah. Now it is visible. Next slide. Yeah, great. Fine. Now it's perfect. So we were discussing about the basic differences between a light microscope and an electron microscope. Sorry for the interruption. We are continuing. Now in light microscope, light source is the source of illumination, whereas in electron microscope, a beam of electrons are the source of illumination. Then electron microscope is providing a higher resolution and a higher magnification than the light microscope. That is, the magnification by means of an electron microscope is around more than 10 lakh times, whereas with light microscope it is just 1000 times of magnification. So a beam of electrons instead of light in electron microscope, then greater resolution. That is because wavelength is much shorter than light. So that means as the wavelength decreases, resolution and magnification increases. So those who have attended the first class, I hope you remember one point while we were discussing about in the first class actually. While we were discussing about wavelength, I have explained you the shorter the wavelength, the greater the value for numerical aperture and the better is the resolving power. That is, blue light has got a wavelength of around 400 nanometer, which blue light of around 400 nanometer has got a shorter wavelength than red light, which is around 700 nanometer. Hence, greater resolution is obtained with blue light source or blue filter over white light source. This I have explained in the first class. Those who were there, you can very well recollect it. So here, this is the same thing. As the wavelength decreases, resolution increases, magnification increases. So what is resolution? What is magnification? All those things we have discussed in the first class. Clear? So with electron microscope, greater resolution, that is wavelength is much shorter than light, and higher magnification, that is at 60,000 volts. So 60,000 volt is the volt we are applying in electron microscopy. So with this volt, a wavelength of approximately 0.005 nanometer with a resolution of 0.2 nanometer is obtained. So what is the, resolution obtained by using an electron microscope? It is around 0.2 nanometer. Fine. And what about the wavelength? Wavelength of the electron beam or wavelength of the electrons in an electron microscope will be approximately 0.005 or 0.05 nanometer. So which means altogether 1000 times better resolution than light microscope. Yes, because light microscope, the maximum resolution is 1000x, so 1000 times. So in electron microscope, it is around 1000 into 1000. So how much it will be? 1, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000 lakh, around 10 lakh times resolution. Fine. So 1000 times better resolution than light microscope. Now, as a result, using an electron microscope, we can view viruses and internal cell structures. With a light microscope, we can observe maybe a bacterial cell or an algal cell or a fungal cell. We cannot observe any internal cell structures or viruses or anything like that. For that, we need the sophisticated electron microscope. Clear? Then, now in light microscopy, now we are passing on to the next stage of electron microscope. So now you know what is electron microscope, what are the properties of electron microscope. Now the next topic is about the specimen preparation or sample preparation using electron microscope. So as far as you can remember, you have worked in lab, you have learned your theory. So when we are going to observe in light microscope, what we will do? We will stain the slide. Maybe we will go for gram staining or acid fast staining or flagellar staining or spore staining. What we are going to observe, we perform the particular staining and observe under light microscope. Now, in dark field microscopy, we have explained we can even observe unstained slides. So similarly, in electron microscopy, before observing the object, we have specimen preparation. So, what is specimen preparation, or what are the properties of specimen preparation in an electron microscope? Now, improper sample formation may lead to artifact formation. So, if we are not preparing the specimen properly in an electron microscope, before observing, if we are not properly preparing the specimen, what will happen? It will be improper, and so it will lead to artifact formation. So, what do you mean by artifact formation? It is the appearance of something in an image that is not a true representation of specimen features on view. For example, I can give you a very good example. While performing gram staining, sometimes if we keep the primary stain, that is crystal violet, for a long time, what will happen? Some of the portion of the slide will be stained in such a way that when we observe under microscope, we feel that there is something on the slide, but we cannot differentiate it. It will be actually the slide. The stain on the slide will be a mark of the stain, but we feel that it will be some bacterial cell or something like that. So this is what artifact formation, which means appearance of something in an image that is not a true representation of specimen features on view. This problem can also happen in electron microscope if we are not preparing the specimen properly. Clear? Now, next point. Before view, it is necessary to dehydrate the specimen and to fix, that is, preserve intact the structures in natural orientation. So, while you have performed in gram staining, in light microscopy, you are doing heat fixation. Hope you remember. What you are doing there, you are just passing the slide over the plane so that the smear will fix on the slide. It will come out of the slide so that you can perform staining one by one. Violet followed by gram siding, followed by alcohol or acetone, followed by safrani. So that's why you are doing heat fixation. That is in light microscopy. So here in electron microscope also, before viewing the specimen, first of all, you have to dehydrate. What do you mean by dehydrate the specimen? Remove the water content, and then you have to fix it. That is, the structures in. There's some disturbance with the mic. Okay, fine. So it is necessary to dehydrate the specimen and to fix, that is, preserve intact the structures in natural orientation. So in electron microscopy, we are going to observe the internal cell structures of a cell. As a result, we have to make sure that we prepare the specimen properly, dehydrate it, that is, remove all the water content, and fix it properly so that we can observe the internal cell structures intact or clearly. Fine. Now, during fixation, it is possible to shrink or stretch or distort and alter the image. So we have to carry out it carefully. That means in electron microscopy, whenever we are performing a specimen preparation, we have to perform it very carefully. Otherwise, sometimes what happens? Sometimes artifact formation will take place, which means appearance of something in an image which is not a true representation. And sometimes what happens if we are not dehydrating the specimen, or if we are not fixing the specimen, then the structure will not be present on the specimen intact, so that we cannot observe it clearly. Also, there is a possibility that the specimen will shrink or stretch or distort and alter the image so that we can't observe anything. Fine. So specimen preparation in electron microscopy is a most important step. Fine. Next slide, please. Can you provide me the next slide?
Is it visible now?
Yeah, first slide is visible. I mean, second slide is visible in the presentation. Now I need the third slide actually. Next slide, the slide next to this.
Yes, sir. I changed the slide, but I think it will take some time to visible for all, sir.
To move. Okay, we'll wait. This is the first slide itself. Yeah. Thank you. So these are the various steps in the sample preparation of an electron microscope. You have got a step called staining. You have got a thin sectioning. Then you have got a freeze drying. So we will start with thin sectioning. First step is thin sectioning. So thin sectioning, what we are doing in thin sectioning? The specimen is sliced into thin sections before staining. So before staining, we are performing thin sectioning. Fine. So how we are doing this? So we are going to observe bacterial cell, or we are going to observe a viral cell, or whatever it is. So now we are telling we are going to slice the bacterial cell or viral cell into thin section. How is it possible? Just go to the third step, that is freeze etching. What we are doing there? Freeze etching. Freeze etching is used to define various biochemical layers of microorganisms, including organelles. So this is the property we are doing first. So in the specimen preparation, we will start with freeze etching. So in freeze etching, what we are doing? The specimen is first frozen at -196 degrees Celsius, fractured by striking with a knife blade, which is called, this step is called freeze fracture. Then etching is performed by raising a part of surface layer of specimen, then exposed to vapors of a heavy metal, then rotated and exposed to vaporized carbon at 90-degree angle to produce a replica of the surface. Any adhering biological material is removed and the replica is observed. So this is the mechanism by which we are performing a specimen preparation. So what we are doing? First, the specimen is frozen at -196 degrees Celsius. Okay. Then the specimen is fractured by striking with a knife blade. It is fractured. This step is called freeze fracture. Then etching is performed by raising a part of surface layer of the specimen. The surface layer of the specimen is raised. How we are doing it? We will see it in step. Now, next one. Then after raising the surface, it is exposed to vapors of a heavy metal. Fine. Then the specimen is rotated and exposed to vaporized carbon at 90-degree angle to produce a replica of the surface. So after this step, after first frozen, then freeze fracture, then etching, all those steps are completed. Once it is completed, we are getting a replica of the surface. Which portion of the specimen we are going to observe? We are producing a replica of the surface by means of this step called freeze etching. Now, after this, any adhering biological material will be removed and the replica is observed under the microscope. So now you pass on to the thin sectioning. In thin sectioning, what we are doing? After performing all those things, we are going for thin sectioning. That is here, this specimen is sliced into thin sections before staining. Now, how we are slicing it? It is using a microtome. Microtome is an equipment, a sophisticated equipment which is used for thin sectioning. Using a microtome with a knife surface made of diamond or glass. Resulting specimens are 600 to 700 nanometer in depth. So very thin sections we are making. Now, microorganisms embedded in a plastic resin prior to thin sectioning. So that is what we have seen in the freeze etching. Now, sections, once thin section is performed, it is stained with heavy metal containing compounds such as phosphotungstic acid containing heavy metal tungsten. Fine. So in the specimen preparation of an electron microscope, we perform freeze etching followed by thin sectioning followed by staining. So in thin sectioning, after freeze etching, whatever replica or whatever specimen we are getting, we are slicing into thin sections before staining using a sophisticated equipment called microtome with a knife surface made of diamond or glass. Now, the resultant specimens are around 600 to 700 nanometer in depth. Now, microorganisms are embedded in a plastic resin prior to thin section. It is in a section actually. Now, these sections are further stained with heavy metal containing compounds such as phosphotungstic acid containing heavy metal tungsten. Finally, we will move on to staining. So staining, as you know, in a light microscopy also we have performed this step staining, which is used to improve the contrast. So what is contrast? All those things we have discussed in the first presentation. So staining is performed to improve the contrast. That means in order to observe the specimen from the background. So in a slide, if we are making a smear and we are staining, we have to distinguish the particles in the smear from the surrounding slide. This phenomenon is called contrast. Fine. So as a result of staining, contrast is improved. Now, the stains used in an electron microscope contain electron-dense heavy metal salt, such as I have already told you, phosphotungstic acid, which scatters electron beam and stained areas appear dark black in color. So in electron microscopy, we are using stains, that is heavy metal containing compounds such as phosphotungstic acid containing heavy metal tungsten, which contains electron dense heavy metal salt. Tungsten is an example, or a phosphotungstic acid is an example for an electron dense heavy metal salt. Now what happens? It scatters electron beam and the stained areas will appear dark or black in color. Clear? So this is all about the sample preparation or specimen preparation in an electron microscope. Freeze etching is the first step, followed by thin sectioning, followed by staining and observation under the microscope. So now you know what is an electron microscope, and when we compare an electron microscope with a light microscope, what are all the added advantages we have then about the specimen preparation of a electron microscope. Now we will pass on to the types of electron microscope. So electron microscope can be, so in light microscope, what were the different types of light microscope? We have learned about bright field, dark field, phase contrast, fluorescent, and 2 or 3 special sophisticated types of microscope. In electron microscope, broadly we have 2 types of electron microscope, TEM and SEM. TEM, TEM, SEM, SEM. TEM is transmission electron microscope and SEM is scanning electron microscope. First, we will pass on to TEM, TEM, transmission electron microscope. Next slide, please.
Is it visible now?
No, still it is the previous slide. Let us wait for one minute. Not yet.
I think there is.
Yes, Shivam, it is visible.
Oh, just wait for a few more seconds. It will be visible to
Sure,
all.
sure. Yeah, no problem.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your support, sir.
Yeah, no worries.
So sorry for the inconvenience, everyone, and thank you for convenience. So just wait for 2 or 3 seconds. Let's wait. There is some connection issue today.
So anyway, after class, you will be sharing this slide with everyone, right? All the participants.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All the participants will get this.
also do me a help actually. So those who have newly joined, just send them all the 3 presentations. So because these 3 presentations completely make the topic microscopy.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Please confirm, sir, once
Thank you.
it is visible or no, sir.
Yeah, sure. Still it is not more.
Students, it is visible now for students. Please confirm once, Amit.
Yeah, visible for all students.
Yeah, heading will be electron microscope hyphen transmission electron microscope within brackets TEM. Is it correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So we will continue. So as I have already explained, electron microscope can be broadly classified into 2 types, TEM and SEM. TEM is transmission electron microscope, that is, and SEM is scanning electron microscope. So first of all, what is TEM? TEM. Now, it uses an electron beam. So already I have explained, in electron microscope, instead of in light microscopy, light source is used to illuminate the object, whereas in electron microscopy, a source of electrons. So here also, TEM, transmission electron microscope, uses an electron beam in order to illuminate the object, and electromagnets instead of light source and glass lenses in light microscopy. So in light microscopy, we were using light source in order to illuminate the object and glass lenses in order to focus the light on the object and obtain the magnified image. Whereas in electron microscopy or in transmission electron microscope TEM, we are using an electron beam and electromagnets in order to illuminate the object and obtain a magnified image. Okay, now the source of electron is a hot tungsten filament in an electron gun. So already we have explained in the previous slide, around 60,000 volt is applied in electron microscopy. So using this voltage, electrons are withdrawn from a hot tungsten filament. So the source of electron in TEM is a hot tungsten filament in an electron gun. Now what happens? Heat draws the electrons from the filament. Electrons are expelled from the filament as a result of heat. Fine. Now accelerated as a fine electron beam and focused on the specimen with an electromagnetic condenser. So there, in light microscopy, if you can remember, light source will be focused by the condenser lens on the object. You have got an ocular lens which is situated at the near your eye, and you have got an objective lens which is located near the specimen, and these 2 lenses will magnify the image and you are getting a magnified image in light microscopy. Whereas here in TEM or transmission electron microscope or in electron microscopy, heat draws electrons from the filament, which is accelerated as a fine electron beam, and this electron beam is focused on the specimen with an electromagnetic condenser. Instead of a normal condenser lens in light microscopy, in electron microscopy we are using an electromagnetic condenser. Instead of light source in light microscopy, in electron microscopy we are using electron beam. Instead of normal glass lenses, ocular lens, objective lens, etc. in light microscopy, here in electron microscopy we are using electromagnets. So all those things are the differences. Fine. Now, air is removed from the electron path by high efficiency vacuum in order to avoid collisions with gas molecules. So when we are using a source of electrons in electron microscopy, there is a possibility that the electrons may hit on particles in the air. In air, there are a lot of suspended particles, dust, all those things. So electrons can hit on the suspended particles in an air and it can get scattered so that we will not get a clear image in electron microscopy. There is a possibility. In order to overcome this issue, in electron microscopy, air is removed from the path of electrons by a high efficiency vacuum in order to avoid collision with gas molecules. Clear? Now, finally, in transmission electron microscope or TEM, fine details of a specimen, even to the level of molecular arrangement, can be observed. So, in light microscopy, the maximum we can observe is a bacterial cell or a fungal cell or an algal cell or whatever. Whereas in electron microscopy, in using transmission electron microscope, we can observe the molecular arrangement of a cell. Fine details, clear details up to the level of molecular arrangement can be observed using transmission electron microscope. Clear? So that is the first type of electron microscope, TEM, that is transmission electron microscope. Now, how the image is formed in electron microscopy, we will explain in the next slide while we are explaining scanning electron microscope. Fine. Next slide, please.
So I have shared this slide. It may be visible to students. Please confirm once, Amit.
Okay.
So the next slide consists of two figures. First figure is the figure of a transmission. Is it visible?
Amit, it is visible or not?
Yeah, visible for all students.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
fine.
Go ahead, sir.
So, yeah. In this slide, you can see two pictures, first figure and second figure. First figure is the structure of a transmission electron microscope. What are all the components of a transmission electron microscope? From the beginning, from the top, you can see there is a electron source or electron gun, fine, instead of a light source. So there they have noted it as a light source. It is not just, there is no light source, it is only the electron source, fine. Instead of light source in transmission electron microscope, we are using an electron source or electron gun, as already I have explained. Then you have got a condenser lens, that is normal condenser lens in light microscope, whereas in electron microscope you will be having an electromagnetic condenser lens, electromagnet type, fine. Then you have the specimen, you have an objective lens, fine. Then there's an intermediate lens. All those lenses means all of them are electromagnets. And finally, you have got the specimen and you have got a projector lens and fluorescent screen. So these are the parts of a transmission electron microscope. And on the figure 2, you can see the path of electrons in a transmission electron microscope, right from the specimen, how the electrons are moving through the objective lens, and diffraction is what happening there, and it is providing an image. So what is diffraction? All those things we have discussed in the first class. Clear? Next slide, please. Next slide.
I have.
Just confirm once. It is a picture. It is a picture of a specimen. How a specimen looks like when we are observing through a transmission electron microscope. It is a picture. Next slide.
Yes, sir. I have saved the slide of this picture. Please confirm, Amit, once it is visible or not for students.
Yeah.
Please, students, confirm once. Please just reply yes in the comment section. Okay, sir. Go ahead. Okay, sir. Go ahead.
It's visible. Fine. So this is just a picture of a specimen. Once we are observing a specimen through the transmission electron microscope, how it looks like. You can see the picture. It's a clear picture. You can see all the internal organs, cytoplasm or nucleus or whatever is present, Golgi bodies or whatever is present in the cell, you can observe. So that's all about transmission electron microscope. And next we will pass on to the second type of electron microscope, that is scanning electron microscope or SEM. SEM. Next slide, please.
I have
so next slide, the heading is, the heading is scanning electron microscope. SEM.
You can go ahead, sir. It will be visible to students, sir.
Okay. So in the first portion, it is about transmission electron microscope. We have seen the mechanism, we have seen the light source, we have seen the electron pathway, we have seen the components, and we have also seen a picture. Now this is scanning electron microscope. STEM. So what is the difference between scanning electron microscope and transmission electron microscope? In transmission electron microscope, simply a beam of electrons are passed from a hot tungsten filament, which passes through a set of electromagnets, hits the object, and the image is created, and the image is magnified, and it is visible for the observer. Whereas in scanning electron microscope, the electron beam is scanned across the specimen surface. So scanning happens from the name itself. Transmission electron microscope, electron beam is only transmitted. Scanning electron microscope, electron beam is scanned. So in scanning electron microscope, the electron beam is scanned across the specimen surface. So here what is happening? The primary electron beam knocks the electrons out from the specimen surface. So in scanning electron microscope, electron beam is scanned across the specimen surface. Primary electron beam hits the electron out of the specimen surface. So primary electron beam all on the specimen, electrons are expelled out of the specimen, or electrons are hit out of the specimen. Primary electron beam hits the specimen and electrons are passed from the specimen surface. Now, these secondary electrons, which is passed from the specimen surface, are transmitted to the collector and directed to a detector which emits light when struck with the electrons. So that is the mechanism in scanning electron microscope. Primary electron beam will hit the specimen. As a result, electrons are passed from the specimen. These are called secondary electrons. Now, the secondary electrons are transmitted to a collector, which is directed to a detector, which emits light when struck by the electron. Now, the emitted light is converted into an electric current, which controls the brightness of image on a CRT screen. What is CRT screen? Cathode ray tube screen. So, just transmission of electrons. In scanning electron microscope, electrons are scanned across the specimen. Primary electron emitters knocks electrons from the specimen surface, and these secondary electrons are transmitted to the collector, which is directed to the detector, which emits light when struck with the electron. Now, the emitted light is converted to an electric current that controls the brightness of image on a cathode ray tube screen. Fine. Now, the intensity of image on screen reflects the composition and topography of specimen surface, which in turn defines the contrast. And scanning electron microscopy is used to view surface structures and their 3D appearance. So, using transmission electron microscope or TEM, we cannot get a 3D structure of the specimen, 3-dimensional structure. I hope all of you know what is 3-dimensional. Fine. It will be 2D in case of transmission electron microscope or normal. Whereas in scanning electron microscope, we can get a 3-dimensional image of the object, and we can get a clear-cut idea about the composition of the specimen, topography, that means surface structures, how they are arranged. All those things we can obtain only from the scanning electron microscope. And the contrast, that is the ability to distinguish the image from the surrounding media, is high in scanning electron microscope when we are comparing it with transmission electron microscope. And scanning electron microscope is also used to view surface structures and their 3D appearance. The topic comes to before.
Hello. You are not audible, sir, I think. Hello.
Hello. Hello, can you hear? Hello.
Yes, yes, sir. Now you are visible, sir. Now you are audible, sir.
Now, now it is audible. Okay, can you give me the next slide? Can the participants see the next slide?
Please confirm once, Amit.
It is
Yes,
a picture
visible.
of scanning electron microscope. Structure of scanning electron microscope.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. So previously we have seen the components of a transmission electron microscope. In this picture, we can see the components of a scanning electron microscope. You have got an electron gun, which will emit an electron beam. Fine. There's an anode. Then you have magnetic lenses in order to magnify initiate the electron transmission. Then you have the backscattered electron detector. That is a secondary electron detector. Fine. And you can see the specimen and the stage. So this is the structure of a or the components of a scanning electron microscope. And next slide, please. Last slide. Can you give me the next slide?
Amit, just confirm once.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible to students, sir.
Yeah. So the last slide is about the how a specimen will observe when we are observing it through, how the specimen will appear when we are observing it through a scanning electron microscope.
Again, your voice is not audible, sir. Your voice is breaking, sir. I think there is today huge amount of network connection issue. So let's wait for 2-3 seconds. So this slide is basically how a specimen look like when you observe through microscopes. Today, sir has explained about scanning electronic microscope and transmission electronic microscope and few more. So there is today a huge amount of connection issue. So sorry for today. I don't know what is happening today because of this connection issue. I think sir will be audible in 2 or 3 minutes. Let's wait, dear ones.
Hello, is
Please
it
wait
audible?
for.
Hello.
Yes, yes, sir. Now audible, sir.
Yeah. So that's all about the topic microscopy. So while you are going to learn this topic, first of all, you have to go to the presentation from the. So this is the last slide. There is a picture from microscope comes to an end. So while you are learning this topic, microscopy, first you have to go to the first presentation from my first class. That is about the basic terminologies in microscopy about reflection, refraction, diffraction, and then fluorescence. All those things you have to learn first of all. Then only you can follow the topic. Then the second presentation is all about types of a light microscope. That is light, bright field, dark field, phase contrast, fluorescence. So all those things you have to cover. Then the third presentation, third time you have to learn this presentation. That is about electron microscopy. Fine. Otherwise, you cannot follow this topic. These three presentations together constitute the topic microscopy. And now this topic microscopy comes to an end here. In the next class, we will meet with a new topic from microbiology. And thank you for this opportunity. That's all from my side.
Thank you, sir, for this informative session. We know today we have faced a lot amount of connection issue, but sorry for the inconvenience and thank you for the convenience. We have got a tremendous support from our speaker and our students. So I think students, if you have any questions, you can put in the comment section regarding this session. Please ask your questions.
Also,
So
in the first
today,
two presentations, in the first one more thing, in the first two presentations, in the slide, I have already given my WhatsApp number and also my email ID. When by learning this topic, if anybody come across any doubts or anything, please let me know so I can support it as far as possible from my side. Thank you.
yes, sir, definitely. I know we all are working hard for students to give them a proper guidance. So if you have any kind of doubts or any queries regarding microscopy about all three lectures, you can directly contact to sir. Sir has given his email ID and his contact number in the uh, PPT itself. So I request everyone to please ask their doubts and be in touch with our organizers and our speakers, so they will guide you in proper guidance. So now I think it has become like a class. Suppose how in offline class a duster, a chalk piece ends. So you run to the coordinator to ask a chalk piece and duster. So here the basic thing is internet. If internet doesn't work properly, we may face some connection issues. So thank you for your support. You all are our BioSeta family. Thanks for supporting us. Just be regular. We will keep you providing classes. Thank you once again, sir. Vinay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Let me sign off. We'll meet in the next
Okay, sir.
class.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
So I would like to request students to fill the attendance form in the comment section. Please, Amit, put it. So today comment section is full filled with yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. We will provide you all the PPTs about microscopy and regarding every session. We will provide you those who will attend. It's your duty to just be regular. Amit, okay. So now you can fill the attendance form. I request everyone to please fill the attendance form, then leave the meeting. No one is allowed to leave the meeting without filling this attendance form. Please fill it. We will provide you all the PowerPoints in your personal chat or email ID. For that, you have to be regular. We will provide all these three Microsoft lecture 1 to 3 to your personal chat or email ID. And those who are new to this online classes, we will provide for them also. It's your duty to please be regular. So after 3 minutes, you can stop the program, Amit.
Okay.
I request everyone to please fill the attendance form. Everyone. I think Amit, now you can stop. Everyone has left the meeting.
Okay.